Good morning. Well, we are here. Our first 100+ day is happening today. Our forecast high for today is 101. We did get a bit of a reprieve. We were supposed to hit 100 over the weekend, and the forecast changed. We stayed in the mid to upper 90s, but it was very hot and very humid. But we did get a rain on Saturday, a nice rain, which is helpful because it's kept things watered in and the grass green. And so, I don't like this. This is my least favorite time of the year, the July and August, when it's so hot in the garden, because it's 82 degrees at just after 7 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, it's warm, and it's just going to continue to be that way. We've got a couple of days where it drops down to 94, I think, and then back to 101, 103, and there is no more rain in the forecast. So while things are looking really, really good right now, we're going to have to start watering some things that we haven't had to. But considering that we're in the middle of July, and I haven't hardly watered that much at all, just an occasional here and there. So because of that, I've been out here early. I've got my morning routine done. Everything's watered on the patio. We've made sure the fountain is full, because you do have a lot of evaporation this time of year with the fountain, and we don't run it all the time. I run it when I'm out here, and you will notice that when I'm like talking to the camera, I mute the sound out, and then other times when I just want to share how glorious it is on its own, I will leave it running. If you spend any time in the garden, you're going to become somebody who pays attention to the weather and is a bit of a weather nerd, because they just go hand in hand, because you need to keep an eye on the weather to know what you need to do in your garden. For instance, since I knew today was going to be so incredibly hot, yesterday I went out and I watered everything I possibly could. Even though we had rain on Saturday, I went ahead and watered as much as I could, just to kind of preventative. I need to do some treatment to my citrus trees with some neem oil. But I'm not doing that right now because it's way too hot. We're going to wait for the weather to break. So yeah, we're here. We are here, and it's just going to be hot for the next few days. So with the days getting warmer and warmer, this week I have been working in Zone 2, the kitchen garden, and I have not tried to do it all at once. I've done a little bit every day, did a little bit more and a little bit more, just because it is so warm. And also this space, as you can see, the sun is coming up. This space is morning sun, afternoon shade. So in the evening, you can get out here and work and not be in the sun, but it's much hotter and often more humid. So I like to do as much as possible in the morning. So that's what I have been up to the last few days. So let me show you what's going on out in the kitchen garden. So I thought I would share a before of the kitchen garden. So this is the herb bed. Just Smoker himself's father made that for us as a wedding present many, many years ago. So things are looking pretty good in here. My roses continue to struggle a little bit, but the sage, the rosemary, the lavenders are all looking really, really good. We've got some greens coming up in there, which is nice. And then we've got a little work to do, and we've just noticed that our thyme is starting to die out kind of in the middle. So we need to trim on that a little bit. It is extending way over there. But it kind of looks like it might be dying out. But if that's the case, I do have another one over on this side of the garden. And as you see, Mr. Nutney has been at it. We will get that taken care of. Water hoses are out. It is the season of the hose. We are starting to have to water everything. So this is looking pretty good in here. This is along the back of the house. So let's go look at the kitchen gardens, the raised beds. So the rhubarb is struggling in the heat. You can actually just see it wilting in the afternoons. As I said, it was an experiment, so we shall see. We're just going to keep trimming off dead bits, and we do have new growth. And yes, bugs chewing on things. So this bed has strawberries and herbs, and a lot of them have gone to seed. And so what I've been doing is just as they've been going to seed, I've been throwing them down in here. And so I'll pick these up and I'll start scattering the seeds off, just strip those off and scatter the seeds and get that taken care of. And it appears that we had a visitor to the garden. Is that a pepper or a tomato? I think that's a pepper. Well, I hope you like hot, spicy food. Peppers are looking good. Oh my goodness, they are looking good. I need himself's help to that Texas tomato cage right there. The top has come loose and it needs staked, so I need his help for that. Oh, look at this one. So pretty. So pretty. The cucumbers are looking very sad, and so that is definitely on the list. Oh, there's one I missed. I need to get picked. That is on the list. I want to get this dead trimmed out of here. Oh, there's another one. So the cucumbers are winding down. I'm getting more and more dieback and misshapen fruits, and I just chunk those out for the bunnies. But we still got some new blooms, but yeah, definitely slowing down. I was picking every day, and I wasn't getting enough to do much with, so I was kind of changing to every other day. But it looks like I've got enough. I got enough to pick a batch here. I gotta get that picked. And the tomatoes. Oh my goodness, the tomatoes. Look at that. Oh my goodness. So yeah, everything is so overgrown in here. So we need to do some serious tidying in here. And the grass needs mowed again. It's not even been a week and already growing up. So yeah, we need to get in here and do a little work. I did want to show you this in case you are wondering what's going on with this strap up in this tree. So you can see up there, we had a limb come down in a storm. I'll have to find a picture of it. I have one. But anyhow, when it did, it broke, but then it landed on this limb, and it was so heavy with water, that limb was just bent really low. It wasn't broken, it was just bent. So himself and nephew Sam basically bandaged up its owie. So I don't know how long he's leaving that for. That's a himself question. But this is one of my favorite trees, so I really hated to lose anything out of it. But at least where it broke is off the back side where I don't see it out because I see this one out my kitchen and my dining room window. But it's still in good shape. But that's what's going on. If you see the orange strap, it had a boo-boo. So I am here on the walkway through around the kitchen gardens. If you've been following along for any length of time, you will know that these are my herb beds, and then the veggie garden is over there. Now, when we moved in, there were nandinas back here. There was like just some scraggly like ornamental grass in here. And so, I want to be able to come out like this on a hot summer day in my caftan or my house dress or my jammies, whatever I'm in. And I want to be able to get some herbs and throw on my sloggers and go to the kitchen, go out to the raised beds and get tomatoes. So here in this bed, I have lavender, I have marigolds, I have strawberries and violets. And this is looking pretty good. I've added more lavender across the back. And some of my lavender, I probably, like these, they probably need to be trimmed at some point in time. I'll have to research when that is, but for right now, we've let them be because they're all blooming, and they're either all blooming or they've just finished blooming. So we're leaving them be. Now, I have an umbrella up. So I have strawberries in here, and they were making a lot of runners. Something on my glasses. So they had a lot of runners and a lot of babies, and so I trimmed them, and the ones that were rooted, I've planted over here, which probably was not a good idea to do this right before it gets hot. So to shade them a little bit, I have got my umbrella over here, and I'll just leave it up through the heat of sun. So we did quite a little bit of trimming through here, because I felt like we had a lot of things that I don't use that much in the garden. For instance, yes, let me stand on a rock. This sage over here. Yeah, the sage is huge. I don't use that much sage. So I trimmed that one back. And then I also have another one here. And I really whacked this one, partly because it was extending over onto the brick. And when the leaves dropped and whatnot, it was making a bit of a mucky mess there. So I've trimmed that one really, really hard. And it's got a lot of new growth on it. So it's going to come back, I think, and be fine. And if not, I have this huge one. And I don't use that much sage. They're beautiful plants in the garden. I use them in cornbread dressing in the fall. I did use some of my cuttings. I was making some roast potatoes, so I used some of that. I also trimmed back my thyme, my English thyme. It had just gotten massive, and once again, it's something that I don't use a ton of. Somewhat I do, but I had this whole spot. I have some lemon thyme over there, and I have another one over here. So I'm like, I got plenty of time. Plenty of time. I do feel like I could utilize my herb garden a little bit more, and I need to investigate about drying herbs. It's not something I've ever done. I've always had an herb garden just so I can walk out and snip some herbs. But I need to investigate that. So if you do any herb drying, I would love to hear about it. Do you do it in your oven? Do you hang it up like a Jane Austen heroine in a spot, and let it dry? I have a convection oven, and so himself was like, I think you could do it in the convection oven. And then of course there's dehydrators. I don't know anything about those either. So yeah, if you have any information about drying herbs, I would love to hear about it. How you do it, that sort of thing. You can put it in the comments here. I think you can do messages on YouTube. You can do messages on Instagram, and you can find me there at Pemberley, Oklahoma. So yeah, I'd love to know what you're doing in your garden. So I want to show you some things out in the raised beds. And since we're going out there, we're going to go put some real clothes on. Puttering on the patio is done for the day. Aw, I love puttering on the patio. Yes, this is how we're picking tomatoes. They are so tall. They're so tall. There's a ton of fruit up here, a lot of green that's not yet ripe. Oh, but they're awesome. So, yeah, we're having to get a ladder out to get the very top tomatoes picked. We're also having one other problem. Let me come down and I'll tell you about it. In the last few days, the nutkins, the little bitty gray squirrels, they have discovered that they've always kind of ran along the brick of the raised gardens, but in the last few days, they have discovered that they can jump up on the pepper cages and then jump to the tomato cages, or just climb up. Is this ideal? No. Is it adorable? Yes. Himself and I have spent numerous hours watching them do this. Yeah, because we can see from the dining room and the kitchen windows, you can see them doing it. So yeah, they have developed a taste for tomatoes. Fortunately, I have a ton right now. And also because the days are getting so hot and we're not dropping down in the evenings below 80, you're not going to set any new fruit right now. You know, what you have is going to continue to ripen. And I have had an overabundance of tomatoes. So I think we're going to be sharing for right now. But also in this heat, the squirrels don't come out as much. They apparently they're back in the, what do they call it? A dray. They're in their air conditioned dray, just chilling, watching, squirrel YouTube, whatever that is. So anyhow, so yeah, that's a tomato update. So if you've been following along for a while now, you will know that we call these the Ireland beds because they have three peninsulas like the rings of Ireland, Barra, Kerry, and Dingle. So, and then along the back, we call that the Healy Pass, which is where you go from, I think it's from Kerry to Dingle. Beautiful part of the country. If you ever get a chance to go there, go there. So anyhow, we name all of them. So here in the Ring of Barra. So as you may recall, we're experimenting trying to grow rhubarb. It's not something that is grown a lot in Oklahoma. And we do have a bunch of new growth down at the bottom. And because we have this new growth, we are leaving all this, the chewed on leaves, the ones that have gotten too hot and whatnot, because they are shading that new growth. So we're just going to leave that alone. We're also, every morning, we've added that kind of to the morning list. We throw some extra water on there because that poor baby just in the heat of the day. And then the other thing I did in this bed, this is where we have the pine berry strawberries, the white ones that taste like, have a bit of pineapple taste to them. And so they had put out a ton of runners. And then I had baby plants in through here. So in here, I just clipped where they were rooted. I clipped the runners, and so that the individual plants can do what they do and not be sucking the life off the original plant. Our dill was done for the season. We had left the seed heads laying down in here. So we just went through and took the seed heads and sprinkled the seeds in here. So with dill and cilantro. So we should be getting a new crop of that. The sun is starting to creep over the tree line. We gotta wrap this up, people. So you can see I have cleaned off most of the cucumbers. I think there's one little bit right in here with my sugar cube melon plant that I have. They were done. They were sad. They were tired. They were getting bugs and diseases. And the cucumbers I was getting, a lot of them were just misshapen and not good. So yeah, they could have lasted a few more days, but I wasn't really getting that much. And I'm like, well, it's time to take them out. I ended up with 17 jars of pickles, some big jars, some smaller jars. I've got gherkins, I got slicers. I got enough pickles to last me to next summer. So we went ahead and cleaned all that out. Just let's not deplete our soil with some tired old cucumber plants that aren't really doing anything. Now, because we're going to be 103, I'm not going to rush to plant anything here just yet. I'm going to do some research and figure out what I want to plant there for my fall garden, because fall gardens start in the heat of summer. I know, crazy. So there are things that you can plant in Oklahoma in July, August, to get a start on your fall garden. So I want to do some more research on that and decide exactly what I want to plant. And whatever I plant in there, we will probably be using some shade cloth. Himself told me he's found some that we had left from the glass house that we could use there. So before I get too crazy about planting anything in this section, I want to get some shade cloth over that to protect the little seedlings before they start in the new plants. So we've got a few days to do some research, decide what we want to do, that sort of thing. So yeah. And in other news here, I got a little in the zone and just clipping and trimming and whatnot. I got a little bit of my burpee sugar cube that I shouldn't have, but I've still got fruit coming on and whatnot, and some there that are almost ready. So I'm really liking that variety. I would definitely grow it again. I'm putting that in my notes for next year. All the basil has just gone crazy. This is a Thai basil, and it's beautiful. I love the purple flowers of this one. So I am cutting that and taking some in whenever I need filler for flowers, or just by themselves, they're beautiful to look at. So I've been coming out and trimming on the basil as need be. This one really needs a good haircut, and it'll be the next one I do. But so I've been coming out and trimming some and keeping a bouquet of them on my countertop in the kitchen for whenever I'm cooking, just whatever, strikes the mood. I need some basil. It's there. It makes the kitchen smell so good. But I got to get this one trimmed because it is leaning into the peppers. And we have a variety of peppers, habaneros, jalapenos, poblanos, cayenne, and then this little guy, and a Thai dragon there. And then these little guys are called chili pie, I want to say, something like that. I thought I had a tag left in there. I guess I took it out. Oh, no, there it is. So these are called chili pie. This is just a tiny variety that I discovered somewhere, and I thought, well, I'll give that one a go. And it's doing really well. So what we do with the peppers, actually what himself does with the peppers, and he just came out and harvested some the other day, but he keeps doing that. So he harvests all the peppers, and then he puts them into the blender with a little bit of water, and he makes a slurry, and then he puts that in Ziplocs and freezes it. And he freezes it flat. And so when in the winter, when you need a bit of spice for chili or stew or whatever, you have pepper slurry in the freezer, and you just break off a little bit and put it in there. So which is really nice to have. So he does all of that. So he's got a system for it, and I leave that to him. We will also make Not for Wimps salsa at some point in time. We're probably getting close to making some Not for Wimps salsa. He also freezes some of that, so we have it throughout the year. So yeah, there's the kitchen garden. It's looking pretty good for the heat of the year. And we're starting to keep it watered. And yes, there are some things with a little bit of bugs on them, but you know, you do what you can. You do what you can. So, yeah. Garden looking good. And we watered it yesterday, so yeah. So let me take you over and show you one other new little thing. So we've had to show our children a little bit of tough love the last few days. The nutkins were just all over the bird feeder that was here. And there's another one down there, and Mr. Nutney was showing them how it was done on that one the other day. So we got this new bird feeder, and it has these little weighted things, so the birds can get up in here and get the seeds, but if the squirrels get on these, it closes it off. So this is the official bird feeder. And we've left our original one down on the other side of the waterfall to be the squirrel feeder. Oh my goodness. It's very entertaining. So, you know, I can't hate on them too much because it is fascinating to watch. So that is what has been happening here at Pemberley, Oklahoma. We've spent our few days working in the kitchen garden. And next week, we will be moving on to back border. And I'm really excited to get back there because the last few days, I have had some video show up in my Facebook memories of what that space looked like when I first started messing with it, because there was a couple of different ideas to start with. So it's been really great to see how far it's come, and it's looking really good. I was out there yesterday and watered some things. So next week I'll be showing you how I water that, and also what all's blooming out there. So when I was out there yesterday, it's looking so good. There's a few weeds here and there. There's a few things we need to do. So I'm really excited to get out in the back border next week, in the next few days. And also, that tends to have a lot more morning shade. So I can work out there a lot longer than just, you know, trying to get out early and get stuff done here. And so that's it for this week from a very hot and humid Pemberley, Oklahoma. Don't forget to check out the Flower Friday pics in YouTube's community tab or on Pemberley, Oklahoma Instagram. I also post some things there during things happening in the garden. I'm watching the hummingbirds over there. Oh. So it's hot and it's humid and it's time to go indoors. So happy Flower Friday, and I will see you next week.